Well, it's getting close to Halloween, so I thought I'd share a few stories about fears that I used to have. Interesting enough, a couple weeks ago we had Friday the 13th, and to top it off, there was a full moon that night, and that wasn't very scary for me. I actually made sure to view the full moon because I wouldn't see another one of those for a few more decades, it seems like. But I have some other genuine fears that actually have some meaning in my real life. I have a big fear of certain social events, especially ones that have a cliffhanger feeling to them. When I was working on my PhD, I actually had a time where I caused a little bit of a trouble because of one of these fears. My advisor had sent me an email saying that she wanted to talk to me about something, and for some reason I didn't see the email until 8 or 8:30 at night, and I was worried because she didn't say what the meeting was about. You see, I have, sometimes I'm not very aware that I'm causing problems, and I thought maybe she or somebody else had seen me do something or was dissatisfied with me, and sometimes I don't pick up those social cues. And I had a feeling that I was in trouble, and I started to think, oh my God, am I getting kicked out of school? And I wanted to find out what this was all about. So I tried to call her on the campus. I went to the campus. Obviously, she had already gone home. And I went online to find her personal phone number, and I found it. And when I called her, her husband answered the phone, and he was very upset because it was 9 o'clock at night, and he hung up the phone on me. And now I was in even bigger trouble. And I thought for sure the first thing that my advisor wanted to talk to me about was not a very pleasant event because of the way her husband had hung up the phone on me. I had the feeling that as they were eating dinner, they were talking about me, and I just had that bad feeling. Needless to say, I tossed and turned for the rest of the night, and then I went to the campus at 6:30 in the morning to wait for her because I'd been up all night. And finally, I see an old classmate of mine, and we started talking about something, and I just got very agitated, and I started to raise my voice and argued with him. And as we were arguing, my advisor came by to see what this giant argument was all about, and I was really frustrated at this point. I asked, what did you want to talk to me about last night? And obviously I said it in a not very friendly manner. And to make a long story short, student life got involved, and yeah, I got in some trouble for that. The funny thing is, the thing that my advisor wanted to talk to me about was a paper that she had seen that she wanted to discuss with me. And I wish she had said it, though. I mean, I was up all night, I got in trouble. The good news is that after student life got involved, I got to talk to my advisor and other people on campus so that we can prevent such from happening again in the future. And the nice thing about that is now, ever since that event, now every time I go to a new workplace, I won't bring it up the first day of work, obviously, but the first time we have a social gathering, I'll make sure to bring up a funny story of mine from the past. And obviously I don't tell my boss, don't do this, but at least he'll know that what has happened in the past, and hopefully he'll get the cue to not do it. So it's good. It happened in the past, and now it can be brought up again. I have this problem that if I'm having a discussion with somebody and the other side goes completely silent, I have a problem of blurting out something that might hurt my position. So sometimes I do interesting gigs that I find on Craigslist or elsewhere, and I'll there be chatting back and forth, texting or emailing back and forth, and all of a sudden I don't get a response for 2-3 days, and then I make some sort of concession, maybe better price or better timing or better location or whatever the case is, depending on what the gig is, obviously. And then all of a sudden I realized, after a few more days, they emailed me back, and I didn't have to give the concession. They were just away from their computer. They had a family emergency. They had other things going on, or they just don't check their email over the weekend. And basically, I threw away the concession. I do that a lot. It's a big fear of mine to have something hanging in my... It's not that I need the gig or the money, it's just that I want to close the book in my head. You can think of it as I have this accounting book in my head and it's getting overfilled, and I just want to run antivirus on that accounting book in my head and delete a few things. Maybe that's a little bit of social anxiety, if you will, but that's a big fear of mine, is to have something hanging in my head. One thing I find very annoying, I recently had to deal with a traffic ticket and going to court, and I got it dismissed, but just the fact that the court hearing was months away, and then during the few months I had other things that I had to do, obviously I have a job, obviously I still have my girlfriend, and I still have to take care of personal things and conferences, and just having something hang there is just really frustrating. I knew I was going to win the case, or at least I knew I was going to. I've been to traffic court enough to know that as long as you go there, they'll move it to a non-moving violation, and usually I get to do community service instead of paying. I know how it works. I just don't like having that thing in my mental book, if you will. Maybe that's something that I'm fearing too much. I had a problem one time when I went to a store. I was planning to go to the restroom to wash my hands, but I had made the mistake of putting the soap on my hands first before knowing if the restroom was going to be occupied. I was at a grocery store, Safeway, and I was thinking I'll just ask this person, can I go in real quickly to wash this off? The problem is this guy didn't want to speak to me or something, and I would have been perfectly fine if he says, no, I'm in a hurry to... I would have been perfectly fine with that, but he said nothing at all, which just made me hanging there, and so I chased down this guy just to get him to say, he's like, are you okay? Like, where are you talking? I started to say really stupid things just to be able to close the book on that conversation. That's a big weakness of mine. I don't like to have an open book. I like everything to be closed out, and sometimes when they aren't, that's when I get really anxious and say really stupid things and raise my voice and do all of that shit, if you will. But it's good. It's good. It's kind of funny because I used to have a fear of flying. I was a teenager when 9/11 happened, and then a couple years later a space shuttle blew up, and after that I didn't want to fly. I still have a fear of flying, but it's not for the reason you think it is. I always get into weird social jams when I fly. Sometimes for one thing, I have to tell the people next to me to please be careful when they're eating, because I have certain skin sensitivities to various food items. Just please be careful, don't spill anything. And sometimes there's a language barrier. I've since discovered if I have to fly through Europe, that I print out the message in multiple languages. Fortunately, I'm not going to Europe this time. I speak English and Chinese, so flying to Taiwan, as long as I don't have a stopover in Japan. If I do, I'll print it out in Japanese, but this time I don't. So that's good. Okay. And then sometimes just weird requests. You know, sometimes I'm looking at something at the computer and I ask the person in front of me, if you want to recline, can you do it now so I don't have to worry about that? And sometimes, whether they say yes or no, I'm usually fine with that. It's when people say something in addition to yes or no, or they don't say anything at all, that causes me a little bit of trouble. You know, and if I'm not expecting it. You know, I expect to hear yes and no, right? I can expect both of those. I just have a big problem of coming up with a response on the fly when there's more to it. Or you know, I'm normally not expecting somebody to go silent. Anyways, but it's always a learning experience when it happens. And I guess enjoy your Halloween and do something that you normally fear so you know how to deal with your fears. Thanks for watching.